Are you going to take this or make me wait?
Certainly, sir. Sorry, sir.
Vodka martini. Shaken or stirred?
Do I look like I give a damn?
Hi, welcome to my sixth review of the longest running film series ever based on Ian Fleming's James Bond 007. Now, with each film that I covered, I managed to highlight something specific about what makes these films and the literary character they're based on stand out as legendary. So without further ado, join me now once again as we continue the 007 body count. This time our stop is 7 years ago to 2006 with Casino Royale. This was the film that many Bond fans have been anticipating and waiting for many years. Daniel Craig re-established the character in a way never expected by many people. A reboot of the series, starting a whole new narrative outline, with the story extending into the following Bond film, Quantum of Solace. This happened to be the first Bond film to be co-produced by Eon Productions for MGM and Columbia Pictures via Sony Pictures Entertainment. It was also the third Bond film in which, when it premiered in London, Queen Elizabeth II attended with the Duke of Edinburgh. The film's title song, sung by Chris Cornell, is the first not to be included with the film's soundtrack, available separately. With piracy being on the rampage these days, I actually read an account about Daniel Craig himself being offered a pirated copy of the film on the street from somebody who didn't recognize him because he had a hat and sunglasses on. To prepare for the role, he actually read all the Fleming books. But I also think that his role in the film unit gave him that push that he really needed to be able to get the part. To prepare for the role, word had it that he got insight from actual secret agents on the set. On screen, he's intense. Craig shows us a killer who is indiscriminate, quick, and precise whenever he lines up a target. At other times, however, he's very contrasting in terms of the way he plays the character with great sensitivity and compassion. As most people have their favorite actor who played Bond, I think that despite who your favorite was, you probably would love every single one of the films that came out. Fans know what to expect when they buy a ticket for a Bond flick. And for years, the production studio behind it all maintained the highest standards in order to deliver just that. I mean, let's face it, aside from great acting, you'll always have the best action from some of the best stuntmen in the world. But let's not forget that there's also a lot of suspense leading up to most of the action, which you get by knowing what most of the characters on screen don't. The novel, which is where it all began, literally was the first Bond book that Fleming wrote. Published in 1953, it was a huge success in Great Britain. In the United States, it took a while, but it would catch on and the same thing would happen. It was basically a spy thriller drawing its roots from World War II, with James Bond as the new literary banner boy for Britannia during the post-war period. The protagonist, Le Chiffre, whom Fleming actually modeled after Aleister Crowley, a well-known occultist and sadomasochist, was a treasurer and trade union for SMERSH, the Russian Secret Service. MI6 recruits Bond, just given 00 status, to bankrupt him at a high-stakes game of Baccarat, chemin de fer. And it all goes down at a fictional resort located in northern France, known as Royale le Sceau. This book was the only one of the series to be adapted for the screen more than once. 3 times, in fact. First, back in 1954 as part of an anthology series for TV known as Climax. Barry Nelson became the first actor ever to portray the character of Bond, only as an American agent for Combined Intelligence, and Peter Lorre was Le Chiffre. Then came the super groovy comedy Spoof in 1967 with David Niven, Peter Sellers, and a whole ensemble cast that would actually appear in a lot of the Eon-produced Bond films, such as Ursula Andress, Dr. No, and Vladek Sheybal, who previously played the character of Kronstein in the film From Russia with Love. That film gave the most emphasis and exact detail on Baccarat. A game of pure chance, Baccarat is a card game associated with Bond in several of the Fleming novels and about 5 of the films. Now, in contrast with the recent film, they played Texas Hold'em Poker instead. Much more popular in the public eye these days, it's primarily a betting game, with more drama played out on the table through bluffing at high stakes depending on the strength of the hand of each player. It is a pretty good way to keep the series current without being dated. I mean, don't get me wrong. But the major parts of the newest film that involve action are done very realistically, reducing a lot of the digital effects to the title sequence mainly. In all the major action scenes, stuntmen are incorporated with the script, calling to make them much more climactic, demanding much more on the main star of the film. Overall, stunts, mechanical effects, and miniatures still play a major role in depicting a lot of the action scenes, not CGI. For instance, like the Venetian house at the end. Shot at Pinewood Studios, it was the largest structure ever built for this film series, weighing about 90 tons. It was monitored to make it look real, but it was all still mechanical to give a real effect. You see, that's the thing with the Bond film series. They always want to make it look realistic, and that's why they do it mechanically, especially today in a world where everything is CGI.
Funny game, right? Sorry, I should have introduced myself, seeing as we're related. Felix Leiter.
With a great Bond film always came a great supporting cast. Enter Jeffrey Wright. As Felix Leiter, he was the only Afro-American actor to play that role since Bernie Casey, who actually played the same role back in 1983 with Sean Connery in Never Say Never Again. The Bond girl for this film is played by Eva Green, the character of Vespa, a woman totally compelled by circumstance. Perhaps the only other actress to play a Bond girl to have a deep emotional connection with the main character, aside from Diana Rigg. And very much like Tracy from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, this character dies at the end of the film, as she does in the book. As the character of Mathis, Giancarlo Giannini almost kind of steals the show. Known for his starring roles in films by Lena Whitmuller in the 70s like Seven Beauties, in this film he's very smooth and suave as the main contact for Bond.
You are a funny man, Mr. Bond.
Mads Mikkelsen plays Lashif, the protagonist that has Bond by the, you fill in the blank. A Danish actor with an extensive background in many productions, this was his first international success. Aside from torturing Bond, he actually shows the same kind of distress when he's being tortured by people that's after him, a villain constantly pursued by villains. The villain is, after all, always so self-assured in these films, but in this case he's really not. That makes him much more desperate and in turn more dangerous. Suspense is brought out very well through the script and the acting in this film. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs, and Casino Royale is really a testament to that. And with the critical hammering that went on when the film opened, it was a real trial by fire, I'm sure. But with the right cast and the right crew, the standard for quality filmmaking in terms of the Bond film series stayed the same after so many years. When you thought they raised the bar, they really just kept it the same. In keeping up with the times, Casino Royale proved to be a very daring film. And in an ironic sense, the character was really brought back to the feel that you got when you read the books. A hired killer by the government who's compelled by reality and circumstance. Well, this makes the body count 6, with one more left to go. ending the body count at that point to 7. 007, that is, with accounts and facts that will leave you shaken but not stirred. Thank you. Ciao.